It's great to be driven, but it's also, there's a point where it stops being healthy. There's a point where it just turns into just grind porn, where you just like, the grind, I need to keep going and doing this thing. And it's like, yeah, man, breathe. It's okay. Grind. Some people need that fire under their ass because they are lazy.
Mm-hmm.
But some people push too hard all the time, and they need the opposite. They need to be told, okay, tone it down 3 levels here. It's great that you push yourself, but maybe a little bit less in your case.
Well, and I think that, that reminds me of a period some years ago where I was in that mode, and I'm sure you've been there before, where, you get the ball rolling. So then I was waking up, 4 a.m, and sometimes I wouldn't be done until 11 at night. I'd go back to sleep, wake up, do it again. But I found that, as I delegated other jobs to people, and hired more people to do things, and then as I got more sleep, I was able to get like way more done in a shorter amount of time. Going back to your story, you're in Hawaii, you get 2 hours and you just knock it out.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing happened for me, where I was like, well, if I sort of get this other side of my life to where like I'm enjoying everything, I seem to be way more amped up for work, and I get it all done when it needs to be done. And it's a much, there's no hard, there's still work involved, and sometimes you got to grind a little bit, but I don't have to, what's the word, be a tyrant to myself to get it all done.
Yeah. And I think at the end of the day, the big disease that we struggle with as human beings is the dualistic mentality, where it's black and white. It's you're either happy but lazy and doing nothing and just sitting there waiting for the coconut to fall in your hand, or you are this ultra-driven, tough person who then ends up being miserable because you burn yourself out.
Mm-hmm.
We always think in terms of, if you don't like capitalism, you must be a communist. If you don't like communism, you need to endorse the most ultra-capital. It's like,
right.
Oh man, life is a little more complicated than that. It's like there's, I find it in everything, whether we're talking politics, philosophy, martial arts, training, energy management, everything people tend to fall into these binary opposites, thinking that there's either one model that's right or the other, where the reality is that usually is a very yin-yang thing, right? There's something good on one side, there's something good on the other. It's depending on how you mix it together, where you can find a healthy balance. And the reason why we don't do it so much is because it's so much easier to go to black and white mentality, because you can apply it every time, right? It's always good to grind, or no, it's always good to be mellow and relaxed. It's always good. And why do we do it? Because that way we don't have to think about it so hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the answer is always the same. I don't even need to know what the situation in front of me is. The answer is always A. And it's like, no, man, you need to figure it out each time. You are a different person, a different circumstances in your life. The situation has changed, and you need to tweak that balance. What used to be good 80-20 one way, now you need to go 60-40 the other. Now it needs to be 99-1.
That's always a challenge, but it takes effort. It takes a lot of effort, and it takes energy, right? Mm-hmm. And like, if you can apply one thing, one lens to everything, that makes things a lot easier, but it doesn't always make them quote unquote right.
Totally. And I think, and that's where even take something like Jiu-Jitsu, right? You think, I'm always going to sweep this way. And it's like, yeah, you work on 5 guys in a row, but then there's a guy who moves differently, who distributes this weight differently. It doesn't work if you do that. Now you need to adapt something else, and you have to change your game a little. And you find out that this other adaptation works better. Great. But falling into the dogma of it work in case A, B, and C, so it's going to work in every other case, is like, no, it doesn't. That's just not how life is.
Yeah.